Hi all, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today we are looking at Gabriel Seth, Chapter Master of the Flesh Terrors, and his opinion on the new Primaris Marines and returned Primarch Roboute Guilliman. Spoiler warning as usual, the events we are covering today come from the novel The Devastation of Baal, and I really recommend you read this novel for yourself first, as not only do you get the most enjoyment for yourself this way, but you help to support Games Workshop and the Great Black Library. Without them, we wouldn't have all these fantastic lore stories to share and discuss with each other. And in particular this time, I have to say, The Devastation of Baal is an absolutely amazing read. It really is. Guy Haley knocked it out the park with this one. It's definitely my favourite novel in the current 40k timeline right now. Even if you're not a fan of the Blood Angels, you will be by the end of the novel. It's that good. So this particular conversation we are going to cover takes place after the Blood Angels and their successor chapters have defended Baal from the Tyranid Hive Fleet. And there's been a surprise arrival from the Indomitus Crusade, led by none other than the returned Primarch Roboute Guilliman himself, who has the new Primaris Marine reinforcements for all the sons of Sanguinius. But with that said, let's jump straight in. Gabriel Seth returned Amit's reliquary in the same manner in which it had been given, in secret and in darkness. He waited for Dante in the catacombs far under the Arx Angelicum, lit by a single red candle, the dusty sarcophagi of forgotten warriors lined shelves carved into the rock. There were thousands of them, in niches that went higher up the wall than he could see, curving away into the absolute darkness of Baal's underworld. So much artistry was there, every niche carved, every sarcophagus a perfect representation of the unique warrior they contained, all of it hidden forever. Pointless, thought Seth, though as he did, he hefted the tube containing the reliquary and doubted his own opinion. There was a permanence in art not found in life. The Tyranids had not found their way in so deep. The dead slept undisturbed. Perhaps they would have remained there until the sun burned itself out had the Xenos won. A relic to be uncovered by the next species arrogant enough to proclaim itself master of the galaxy. Such stillness was there, such peace. It only accentuated Seth's simmering rage. His double pulse roared in his ears in the silence. His muscles creaked with tension. He stopped his fists clenching on the reliquary's counter only by a direct act of will. Poised between the silence of the dead and explosive, uncontrollable fury, Seth waited with the patience of a well-balanced sword. In the darkness, the nearly silent purr of Dante's master-crafted armour growled as loudly as an enraged wolf. Seth's luminator snapped on, striking scintillating reflections from Dante's golden plate that moved over the faces of the sarcophagi. Such was the effect of Sanguinius' death mask bathed in the light that Seth almost knelt reflexively. He remembered Apollos' chiding and grunted in anger, forcing himself to remain standing. "Gabriel," said Dante, "it is good to see you living." His pure voice echoed off in the distance, revealing the vastness of the catacombs. "Commander," said the master of the Flesh Terrors. He held out the tube. "I am returning this to you." Dante looked at the relic. "I gave it freely," he said. "It was not yours to give," said Seth gruffly. "Besides, a thing of this worth and beauty has no place with us. Better it stays here with you. I have seen the fate of my chapter in the face of Centaur Jewel. If Sanguinius' feather remains with us, it will be lost." "Very well," Dante grasped the tube. "If you insist." Seth released it to his care. "My brother, you survived. Your chapter faced rage incarnate, and it did not fall. The Knights of Blood could not tear themselves from the fight. They were in thrall to the floor. You are not they. You have proved that. Your fate is not theirs. No, Seth shook his head. His frown grew deeper. No, it was not like that. The Knights of Blood thought themselves too monstrous to return to Baal. They sacrificed themselves. They chose where to die. They fought the embodiment of rage, and they did not fall. It was a clean end for a corrupted bloodline. There will be no such blessing for my warriors. Without the relic, it may have been different. I pray to whoever is listening that we can find similar peace. It will not happen to you, said Dante in surprise. Guilliman brings enough new warriors to rebuild all the chapters of the Blood. Not the Knights of Blood. Not they, admitted Dante. That name is too cursed to resurrect. Let them be remembered for their final heroic act. But the Flesh Tearers will be reborn. Guilliman is a living Primarch. He will save the Imperium. He brings more reinforcement. The new warriors will save our bloodline. Where we are flawed, they are not. There is little, if any, sign of the flaw among the Primaris Space Marines. Corbulo tells me that where he failed, Belisarius' call has succeeded, eliminating the instability at source. Not one of them in the long, hard years of the Indomitus Crusade has fallen to the Black Rage. When queried on the first, the majority are perplexed. They simply do not know of it. Corbulo is amazed. That is salvation, is it? Said Seth. I say otherwise. I saw it as a deliberate action against our Lord's heritage and the work of the Emperor himself. How can you say that? Said Dante, appalled. Interesting point here that Seth is actually right in the sense that the Emperor does appear to have designed the floor to be part of the Blood Angels. Why, only he could say. You are too noble to understand, Seth rounded on Dante. That is not salvation. That is replacement. These new warriors will bear the colours of Flesh Tearers, but without Sanguinius's fury, will be in Flesh Tearers in name only. All my time as Chapter Master, I have waged war on our rage, to wrestle it into submission and use its strength to slay our foes. We are fury. From the time of Amit, the Savage Lord, to this day, we have carried the white heat of Sanguinius's anger in us. That was our gift and our burden. The flaw is what makes us what we are. He clenched his fist in front of Dante's face. His voice dropped. We are nothing without the struggle against it. He would make us all Ultramarines in red armour. He turned away, his gaze staying down. Another good point here. Is Guilliman perhaps even unintentionally trying to make the other chapters more like his Ultramarines? More normal Marines, at least to him? It's an interesting point there. There are few of my warriors left. Few true Flesh Tearers. Once we are dead, the Flesh Tearers will be no more. No matter that these abominations carry our name. It is a betrayal, not a boon. Guilliman will want us gone quickly, and his own warriors in our stead. Gabriel, Seth waved his hand. Open your eyes, Dante. These unnumbered sons, they are legions in all but name. I have spoken with the newcomers. They are only too glad to tell me of the Avenging Son's plans. Wherever Guilliman goes, he leaves his men in place. Through the Codex, he gave Adeptus Astartes their independence. He is more than willing to remove it from us. Soon, the chapters will be free in name only. And these new Space Marines, he has the gall to interfere with the work of the Emperor? If he is willing to do that... Seth fell silent suddenly. What are you suggesting? Said Dante. Seth mulled his words over. Even as his anger tried to force them out his mouth, he would not speak at Rage's behest, and decided to say them in calmness. They needed to be said. If he is regent, Why not Emperor? What you suggest is treasonous. My words or his actions? Snarled Seth. He drew himself up to his fullness of his considerable height. Be careful of him, Lord of Baal. Be very careful. Without waiting for a reply, Seth walked away into the darkness. So there we have it. Seth clearly untrusting of Guilliman, a returned Primarch. It's not clear if Seth has met Guilliman here or not, so we don't know if he's come face to face with the returned Primarch himself, but it may not be his own gene father Sanguinius, but any Primarch would no doubt be a life-changing experience where you meet him face to face, even for a Space Marine. A true son of the Emperor walking amidst the stars once more. Perhaps Seth's thoughts may have changed as he met Guilliman face to face. But of course he may have already, we just don't know at this point. Seth's thoughts on the Primaris Marines are, in my opinion, definitely worth considering. Especially as we know the Emperor did intend the Floor to be part of Sanguinius and the Blood Angels gene seed. And you can completely understand his feelings that if the Fury, the First, were to be removed, then they aren't the true sons of Sanguinius anymore. That's what makes them what they are, the refusal to give in to it. And you can understand Dante's opinion also on the other side of the coin. He sees it as something afflicting his chapter, afflicting all the sons of Sanguinius. A curse that is slowly killing them. Someone being able to cure it to him is giving life to a new chapter. And Bloodline, you know, he's given his life to it. And it's also worth noting that Sanguinius himself felt like it was a curse. In all of his writings that he left for his sons, he would have no doubt referred to it as a darkness, a curse upon his sons. Dante spent his whole life reading those. He would be very much in that mindset. However, as we know, there have since been rumblings that perhaps the Primaris are not as cured as first believed. And what about Guilliman? One step away from being Emperor, according to Seth? What do you think of that? Personally, I think Seth's overreacting a little bit here, but you can kind of understand why. There's never been anything like it for nigh on 10,000 years, then all of a sudden the son of the Emperor is back, alive, declaring himself in charge of the Imperium. It must be a radical shock. But then again, he has appointed Dante as Regent of Imperium Nihilus, so wouldn't that ease some thoughts on him? Not to Seth. But what do you guys think? Is Seth right on his opinions, or do you agree more with Dante? And what about his thoughts on Guilliman? One step from being Emperor, or facts or heresy? As always, a huge thank you to all of my subscribers. Your support really means a lot to me. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you guys again real soon.